Okay, so we'll take that from the top. Teresa, tell me about your professional background prior to launching the business.
I was a former emergency room nurse and critical care nurse, a manager of both of those.
Fantastic, awesome.
Thank you.
And how long was your career in that industry?
Oh, over 20 years easily.
Okay, great. And how did that inspire you to launch your business? And then tell us more about what that business is.
Well, it inspired me to launch the business mainly because at that point, I actually didn't.
It didn't. Okay. Then I'll ask the question differently. Okay. So the way I'll ask it is, why did you launch your business? And then tell us more about what the business is.
Okay. I basically have had hearing loss my entire life. I was skiing on a ski slope one winter with my kids on vacation when some giant man crashed into me from behind and blamed me for not hearing him. And when I shared that with an artist neighbor, she said, well, Teresa, they can't see that you have hearing loss. And thus came the concept for putting a logo on people that have a hearing loss to let other people see that we need help.
Interesting. Yeah. And talk a little bit about the numbers around this, Teresa.
Okay.
How many folks in the U.S. have some sort of hearing loss?
There are 48 million Americans that have hearing loss. It's 1 out of 5, so it's 20% of the population, and it does not matter their age. 1 out of 5 teenagers across the board, every age, race, gender, and socioeconomic level.
It's so interesting because I didn't know that statistic prior to us having some conversations, and I bet most folks didn't know that statistic. So given this is such a big portion of the population, why aren't we responding to these needs, both on a personal level and as a business owner level?
Yeah. Well, businesses basically are losing those sales by not making businesses be hearing-friendly businesses, or just little minor accommodations so that we can go in and spend our money.
Exactly.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
And then if they could focus more on this little niche market, then that could improve their customer service. It also could improve their employee communication skills, because along with learning how to communicate with us, they would learn how to communicate with 20% of their coworkers that are dealing with hearing loss.
Very, very important. So continue on this track, if you would, for me, Teresa, which is, what are some of the things that businesses should be thinking about? What are some of the things that you work with them on to better address the 20% of the market that they may be losing because they're not sensitive to this market?
Well, many businesses now are realizing that there is the American Disabilities Act for communication disorders. And we're 48 million strong, and the wheelchair people are 2.2 million. So my premise when I go out to talk to businesses is, let's attract that customer in, pay a little bit of money to do minor adjustments now, rather than on the back end having to pay a lot of money because somebody decided that they realized their rights and that you didn't accommodate them. So let's just do that. So that's one of the things I do. And so I can do an assessment for, say, restaurants or any business. And then I make little minor adjustments for employees, what they need to do. I do training for those employees on how to recognize us hearing impaired people. Because it's easy for me to see somebody at a distance because I've dealt with my whole life. And then I help them create a little small space where they can bring us in, and that therefore the lighting is slightly different, where we're looking at the light of whoever's speaking to us rather than the light in our eyes, where we can't lip read necessarily what, say, the server is saying or the customer service rep. And we teach them not to turn their backs on us, and to learn to maybe just have fun with it. So instead of being hard of hearing and hearing impaired, I like to call us hearific, and we're terrific. So the salesperson can learn to put their hand behind their ear and just play with somebody that they think they may know that may have a hearing loss. So let's have fun with it. Just like the 4 eyes, That's gone. Everybody wears great glasses. So why not take one of your important senses and make it valuable and get on target with this? So I don't know why nobody's done it, but I'm the lady that's going to move it forward.
You're doing it. I love it. Perfect. All right, I'm going to hit the pause button there and just. So, Teresa, are there any other things that you would want to articulate in this video? Things you want to get out, like impromptu with a question?
Well, I think people need to be aware that it is a social disease and it is a health condition. And since it's a health condition, that's what it is. So it causes isolation, it causes depression, it causes heart problems, it causes obesity, it causes conflict, both personally and professionally. And so if somehow or another people can get to the point where they wear a little lapel pin where other people can see that they have a hearing loss, and then people can go, oh, because I have a little small one that I wear. I don't wear something this big out in public, but I have a little small one, and when I went to a retail store the other day to pick up a cake, then the lady said, oh, I love your pin. And then it was a real conversation piece for the two of us. And then if you're hiking, biking, cycling, running in Carlsbad City, they are actually looking at putting this logo up on the trail. They're looking at putting it up on Coast 101 so that us hikers and bikers and cyclers can wear a hat with the logo on the back or on our shoulder, or the bicyclists have to wear it back here, so that the driver can see, or the other person trying to come around them can realize that person can't hear necessarily. And even those of you who have great hearing, you are the 79%. I would love to teach you classes on foods that you can eat to prevent and reduce hearing loss. I mean, I would love that, because for me, I've dealt with it my whole life, but it is disconcerting to see someone who suddenly didn't realize they needed zinc in their diet to prevent what's called sudden asymmetrical neurosensory hearing loss. And I recently have met 3 different businesswomen that this has happened to. 72 hours, it's gone. Wow. And then there are medicines that you take that actually can wipe out. There are 200 different autotoxic medicines, and I teach webinars on this. So I would like for the hearing people to learn about this so that they save their hearing, because 90% of the deaf babies are born to hearing parents. So is that the noise that's out there and they're just not aware of it? Or is it the food that they eat or don't eat? Or is it possibly just because it's their DNA? And nowadays even that can be changed. So this hearing concept is something that people just have not gotten on board with yet. But I look forward to helping people learn about it, both from the business aspect and also from the personal aspect. Because Helen Keller was asked whether she'd rather be blind or whether she'd rather be deaf. She said that blindness disconnects you from things, but deafness disconnects you from people. And Mark Twain said that kindness is something both the blind can see and the deaf can hear. So this is something that we need to spread understanding about this. I do teach diversity training so that people feel included with this, because it saddens me to see that in San Diego, with one of the Fortune 500 companies, there was an employee that did have hearing loss since they were 12. She was 12. She never reported that she had hearing loss to the HR person, nor have I ever told anybody. So I'm guilty too. And what transpired was that after 25 years at the C-level, this lady was let go because her manager didn't understand what she needed. And she signed a form that said she would not sue due to this. And so shame on that company, but let's prevent those lawsuits that could possibly happen in the future by training the managers what they need to do and how they need to accommodate and let that hearing impaired person or hearific, the terrific, there you go,
Love it.
to be empowered and to say, hey, these are the helps I need, and then have them contact me. I'll be your advocate if you'd like for me to help you out with that.
Fantastic.
So.
Terrific.
Terrific.
Terrific. I love it.
Because it's all about connections, and it's all about the butterfly effect, because everybody needs to communicate. You're even doing it auditorily or you're doing it with sign language, but you are doing it one way or the other. So we're in 3 different groups. We've got the deaf, who are less than 1%. We've got the people with mild hearing loss to profound hearing loss. We are the 48 man. We are the hearifics that are terrific. And then we have the hearing. I've come up with the word hearers for them. But I'm open to suggestions on that one. But we have the 79% of the population that has good hearing. But unfortunately, that number for hearing loss has increased 30% in the last 12 years. So there are products like sodium lauryl sulfate that can be found in your shampoo, in your shaving, and in your toothpaste that actually deplete the cochlear hair cells, and you might not know about that. So come and learn at Hear Communication. You can look me up under hearcommunication.com. You can call me at 800-491-9483. Leave a message for that number. Or in case Hear Communication is too long, for the newer generation, hearc.com. And that's the letter C. That's what the deaf people say for the letter C. hearc.com. So you've only got 5 letters to remember it by.
Perfect. Awesome.
I'm Teresa Barnes, a hearific influencer, and giving up ER nursing to now care for the world in a new way.
Brilliant. Thank you for your time, Teresa.
Thank you, Felina.
Good job.
Thank you.
That was awesome.